Concept cars are supposed to be the best of automotive imagination, cutting-edge design, futuristic tech, and a bold look at what might be rolling down the road in 10 or 20 years. But sometimes, designers go too bold. So bold, in fact, that they leave us wondering if the team just lost a bet or accidentally hit randomize in their 3D modeling software. These aren't just quirky or odd. These are the concept cars that made people laugh, cringe, or question reality entirely. From bizarre proportions to baffling features, so buckle up. Here are the 10 ugliest concept cars ever made. Trust us, you won't believe some of these actually made it to a showroom floor. Number 10. Ford Nucleon, 1958. Let's kick things off with a car so bizarre it was powered by a nuclear reactor. Yes, in the 1950s, Ford dreamed up a concept called the Nucleon, a futuristic vehicle that would be powered not by gas, but by a small-scale nuclear fission reactor mounted in the back. Design-wise, it looked like a spaceship fused with a diner booth. The proportions were completely alien. The cockpit sat way at the front like a theme park monorail, and the rear end was this oversized bubble housing the reactor, a sci-fi fantasy that thankfully never saw a working prototype. It wasn't just odd, it was unhinged. Ford genuinely believed you'd someday swap out nuclear fuel cells at local stations like batteries. It never worked beyond scale models, but the sheer audacity of designing a rolling radiation risk earns the Nucleon a solid spot on this list. 9. Toyota Rhombus, 2019. Toyota's Rhombus was designed for young, urban Chinese buyers. Translation: someone in the design room said, "What if we built a car shaped like a USB stick?" The rhombus is all sharp angles and strange proportions. From some angles, it looks like a collapsing polygon. From others, like a rejected Star Wars droid. Inside, it's just as bizarre. A central driver's seat with passenger seats set at odd angles around it. It's a lounge. Except, nobody wants to lounge in something that looks like an origami accident. Toyota usually nails practicality, even in their weirder cars. But this was trying so hard to be futuristic that it looped back around and became ridiculous. 8. Dodge Super 8 Hemi, 2001. The Super 8 Hemi is what happens when you take design inspiration from 3 decades at once and forget to blend them. It had the front of a 1950s cruiser, the suicide doors of a 1960s Lincoln, and the tail end of a 1990s sedan. The result was a Frankenstein's monster that no one asked for. Presented at the 2001 Detroit Auto Show, it was meant to show off Chrysler's then-new Hemi 5.8 engine. And sure, performance-wise it was fine, but visually, it looked like something you'd see in a parody ad from The Onion. Gamers might remember it from early 2000s racing games. It stood out, not because it was cool, but because it was confusing. Number 7. Citroën Karen, 1980. Imagine a pyramid. Now, imagine that pyramid has wheels. Congratulations, you've just visualized the Citroën Karen. This French oddity was unveiled at the 1980 Paris Motor Show, and it was a statement, to say the least. It had a triangular profile, a single seat in the front flanked by 2 in the back, and a dashboard that looked like a VCR exploded. To Citroën's credit, they're no strangers to weird design, but the Karen was less bold innovation and more sci-fi fever dream. Some said it looked like a cheese wedge on wheels. Others said it looked like a doorstop with headlights. Either way, nobody was clamoring for it, and Citroën wisely kept it a one-off. 6. BMW X Coupe, 2001. BMW has a history of bold design, but the X Coupe, it was a swing and a miss. Unveiled in 2001, the X Coupe looked like it couldn't decide what it wanted to be. A coupe, a crossover, a hippo in sheet metal. The most bizarre feature? Asymmetry. One side had a suicide door, the other didn't. Designers called it playful. Most people just called it broken. It had the face of a fish, a rear that looked like it melted, and an overall shape that screamed Photoshop error. It was an attempt to break the mold, but all it broke was BMW fans' trust. 5. Sparrow 4x4 plus 2, 2018. The 2018 Geneva Motor Show gave us many things, but few were as memorable as the Sparrow 4x4 Plus 2. Built on a heavily modified Porsche Cayenne chassis, this six-wheeled monstrosity looked like Mad Max met a Hot Wheels playset. Huge cutouts exposed the drivetrain and rear axles. Why? No one knows. It's like they wanted to show off the engineering, but forgot to finish the design. To make things worse, it had the proportions of a toaster with a bad attitude. The front end looked slapped together from spare parts, and the whole thing sat so awkwardly on its oversized wheels, it felt more like a concept about a concept. It wasn't bold, it was barely coherent. 4. Honda Fuyajo, 1999. If you've ever wondered what a rave would look like if it became a car, meet the Honda Fuyajo. Translated as Sleepless City, this concept was targeted at partygoers who never go to bed. It had standing room seating, neon interior lighting, and a face that looked like a vending machine. Honda claimed it was designed so clubbers could dance while commuting. Yes, really. But from the outside, it looked like a GameCube with wheels. The Fuyajo wasn't just weird, it was outright impractical. No suspension to speak of, no safety features, and interior materials that looked like recycled glow sticks. It was fun, sure, but about as road-ready as a carnival float. Even Honda quickly moved on, never referencing the Fuyajo again. Number 3. Art and Tech Lamborghini Sogna, 1991. Take one of the most stunning cars of the early 90s, the Lamborghini Diablo, and ask, how can we ruin this? Enter Ryoji Yamazaki, a Japanese designer who decided to reshape the Diablo into something less Diablo and more melting marshmallow. The Sogna was fat in all the wrong places, curves where there shouldn't be curves, a back end that looked swollen, and a slime green paint job that made it look radioactive. Even LAMBO fans were horrified. This wasn't pushing boundaries, it was blurring them with a sledgehammer. The car was shown at Geneva, and reactions ranged from stunned silence to uncomfortable laughter. It became a legend, not because of what it did, but because of how it should never have existed. Number 2. Rinspeed X-Trem MUV, 1999. Rinspeed, known for outrageous designs, hit peak absurdity with the X-Trem MUV. This concept looked like a PT cruiser that got into a bar fight. The front was bizarre and bloated, while the rear included, no joke, a miniature crane and a hovercraft. Because utility? Built for multi-utility versatility, the X-Trem was the poster child of doing too much. Too many ideas crammed into one boxy package. It wasn't just ugly, it was confusing. The crane was supposed to help deploy the hovercraft. But who was this for? A suburban dad with a secret spy career? Even the color scheme, a garish mix of silver and orange, screamed unlicensed toy. In the end, it became the butt of jokes across the auto show circuit. Nobody asked for a hovercraft car crane hybrid, and Rinspeed proved why. 1. Aurora Safety Car, 1957. The ugliest concept car ever wasn't built by a car company at all, but by a priest. Father Alfred Giuliano believed safety was sacred and set out to design the world's safest car. He succeeded in making something unforgettable. The Aurora safety car had a plastic bubble canopy, a massive caved-in nose, and proportions that looked like they were copied from a melted bar of soap. It looked like a prop from a rejected 1950s sci-fi movie. What makes it more surreal is that Giuliano poured his own money into it, funded by donations from his church. He believed God was guiding his vision. The result was a vehicle that looked like a sea creature halfway through molting. The car was a complete mechanical disaster, breaking down before reaching its unveiling and earning ridicule from every angle. Only one Aurora was ever built, and it now lives in a museum, not as a triumph of innovation, but as a monument to good intentions gone completely off the rails. Design is subjective. What looks awful to one person might look revolutionary to another. But let's be real, some of these concept cars were just plain weird. Whether it was trying too hard to be futuristic, mixing too many ideas, or just completely ignoring basic proportions, these cars proved that not every concept deserves to leave the drawing board. If you enjoyed this list of automotive oddities, Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. What's the ugliest concept car you've ever seen? Thanks for watching, and please keep your design symmetrical.